Okay, gang. It is Thursday, June 22nd. This is your wrap for today. Um, we'll have a little lesson wrapped up in today's wrap as well. So this is how we traded, and this is how we traded for most of the morning. We have 9:30 right here, and then we were contained. We had a 4 point range for the vast majority of the morning, right? And then we finally broke out. We ran up here to the high power zone, pulled back, ran up again, traded sideways, 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 sideways. Then here at the end of the day, we started to drop off and drop back down here, back into this area, right between, what was that? It was between 34 and 30. Yeah. So all morning we traded between 34 and 30. We dropped right back down here and actually closed in that area. It's a little bit after that at this point. But that's how the dance worked. The lesson that I want to give you guys is, do as I say, not as I do. Well, not really. But today I got frustrated because we were literally in this 4 point range. And I'd taken a couple of losses, and I chose to not take the third trade, right? So it was over here, over here, over here. Here was the third trade, and that's what it did, right? So I walk away with a loss for the day, and I mean small, because that's what I do. But I walk away with a loss for the day when I could have, at minimum, recovered my losses and maybe picked up a tick or two, right? So what does that mean? And by the way, DT stuck with his plan. He stepped outside it a little bit, but he traded and he got his daily goal, right? All because he stayed with it, right? So what does that mean? That means, as I tell you guys all the time, there are going to be days when you lose money, right? There are going to be days when you take 3 stops and that's it, you're done, right? You know that going in, that's a possibility every day. That's why we minimize our risk. We take as small a risk as possible to keep, even if we take 3 stops, to keep our losses small relative to our wins, right? Today, I should have stayed with it and not gotten myself all turned around and said, you know what, I'm done. And in fact, I said in the room before that, this is ridiculous. Like, if it weren't for you guys, I would have closed up shop already and shut the room down. But what I did instead was I closed up shop on my trading and kept the room open until 11, right? So what I really should have done was kept my trading company open for business, taking the trade the way that I was supposed to, and taking the positive results that would have come from that. Right? Now, don't hear me to say that that third trade is always going to be the charm and deliver your losses as well as a couple of ticks to the good for you back. Right? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, even if this had ultimately stopped me out again, right, and that was my third stop for the day, it would have been well worth it because of the possibility of this. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out as always. But it's real. You got to take the trades, right? You do the work to minimize your risk on every front and in every way possible. It's the activity that's going to make you the money, right? Because you're trading, the activity is within the defined parameters that you have that keep your risk small and allow you to have bigger wins than your losses, right? Which ultimately, as you know, nets out to positive results for your trading overall. Okay, so you gotta take the trades. If I guess that's the sum, and what I mean, you gotta take the trades. Okay, let's look at the daily. This is a little bit of a weird close, right? Because price really held the balance zone here on the daily over the course of the morning and looked like it was going to go higher, right? That's where we ended up when we did ultimately go to the upside, right? Now, I think 28 is in danger. especially in light of how we closed, right? I think there's a very good chance that we, even overnight, could end up down here somewhere, challenging this low power zone on the daily, and then seeing what's kind of down here, who gets awakened and how they behave. Maybe, right? We could also wake up and it'd be up here, right? So what do I know? Let's take a look at the weekly real quick. As I said, and I'll say again, if this closes like this, anywhere like this, right, even if it's a little bit higher, but if it closes looking like this, right, that's a very strong rejection of higher prices, very strong rejection of the all-time high. And, any move down here next week would confirm that. And then all of a sudden we're wondering how far we can go to the downside, which may not be far at all. But the signal would have been confirmed and on the weekly. So it would be well worth watching, as always. Okay. So that, let's take a look at what the swing will look like. The swing is telling us that this is a bit of, this is the 120. It's telling us that this is, in all likelihood, going to go lower, right? Because you have this would be basically the flagpole. Now, those of you who have listened to me for any period of time know that I do not like extended flags, right? They're not my favorite. I don't like them. And that's what this is, right? Normally you want your flag to be kind of like from here to maybe here. And then, price makes a decision. It either goes up or it goes down, right? This is a very extended flag, right? So the normal rules don't really apply, right? It could go either way, but that's kind of always the case, right? That said, with this resistance here, right? The high power zone on the weekly, and these levels down here kind of acting as a magnet to pull it down, I'm inclined to believe, and by the way, this is resistance at this point, right? This is resistance. This is support, right? Price is looking like it wants to take out support and have resistance hold. So all of that says that we're much more likely to go down versus going up in the near term. Okay? So hopefully this is helpful. I always hope it's helpful. Hopefully the little lesson provided you some insight and will help you continue to take your trades even when it gets frustrating and you have, a few losses in a row, and that you don't miss the next trade, which is the one, right? Because you were busy lamenting the previous trades, okay? Or the current market, as it were. Okay? Hope it helps. Reach out if not, or if you have further questions, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.